Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another episode, Banish the Doubt. In this video, in this episode, what I want to focus on, what I want to talk to you about is where is your level of belief in yourself? Where is your level of trust in who you are? What are your assumptions? What are your definitions? What are you perceiving about yourself and the world and this reality in which you create, because you're creating it right now by watching me, by watching this video. You are creating your reality by your assumptions of what I'm saying. You're creating your reality by your beliefs about what I'm talking about. You're creating your reality by your definitions about what I'm talking about, what I'm saying, how you're defining yourself based on what I'm saying. You're creating your reality right here in this very moment. You and you alone are the creator of your life. No one else. No one else creates anything in your life but you, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay? So your belief in whatever it is you aspire to do, to be, or to have in this world, in this reality that is yours. I want to read you a quote that was given quite some time ago. It says here, to believe in the things you can see and touch is no belief at all. But to believe in the unseen is a triumph and a blessing. That quote is from Abraham Lincoln quite some time ago, but very, very appropriate for today, for this video. Okay, so I want to just slide over here a little bit. I want to continue. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about emotions. Okay, and what he says is emotions are a record of the past. So how you're feeling right now about this video is based off of it's a record from the past, how you've been living up until this very moment. Because remember, there is no such thing as the past. There is no such thing as the future. There was always only ever this present moment right now. And the future will be this present moment right now. But we can change all of that. You change the past and the future, because there isn't really any, but you change everything. The way you perceive yourself and you define yourself in this very moment. Okay? So, reactions then, how we react to anything, is the emotions from the past being reflected in the moment. So, something happens in your life, and whether you react or respond is all about how you perceive. What's your definition of what just took place? The definition about yourself in relation to what just took place, the event that just took place or is taking place. Your definition about yourself in relation to this event, how you define yourself in each and every moment, is based the end product of that. The end product of an event is our emotion. That is the end product of the event. The emotion is the definition that we have of ourself in relation to this event that took place. So if we react, then that is something from the past being reflected in that moment, sort of coming up, if you will, coming to the forefront. Okay, or into a future negative that we perceive as a negative event. An example would be you have to go to the dentist, right? You have to have a root canal, or you have to have a tooth pulled. They're going to stick that needle in your mouth and they're going to numb the area. So we get emotional. Now, some people get a little bit more emotional than others, but we start to, right? We start to get these beliefs. We have these beliefs about, I'm just using the dentist's office as an example, because a lot of people don't like going to the dentist. I would say the majority of people don't like going to the dentist because why? We conjure up these images from the past. So we have these emotions from the past. Somebody's ever had a root canal. Okay, so just as an idea. Okay, so emotions and our reactions. Now, the emotions are born out of our programs. Programs are set into us from when we were born into this world, even before we were born into this world, meaning we emanated to this world. Okay? We are made up, our body is made up of over 700 billion, and I think it's even more than like billions and billions and billions of atoms at the cellular level. And an atom is 99.99999% empty space, and 0.0000001% physical substance or matter. So we are more nothing than something. So if we are more nothing than we are something, then what is it that keeps the majority of people on this planet poor, maybe middle class, a below middle class, maybe a little bit above middle class? And then there's the 1%, and then there's the 1% of the 1%. What is that? See, nothing that happens globally happens in a vacuum. Anything that's ever taken place globally is nothing more than in totality, the individual's definition, perceptions, beliefs, and assumptions about themselves being sort of broadcast, if you will, on this global stage. Because if you were to look at the world in relation to this Milky Way galaxy, if you were able to pull yourself away and view Earth, it would be like a grain of sand on a beach. Take that and you go from there to, I'm going to, so you can see it right here, right here. You see that circle. And I'll put the dot in a different color so it comes out a little bit better. That dot, I don't know if maybe you can't even see that dot. I can barely see myself. Okay. For illustrative purposes, there is a red dot inside this circle. Okay. That little red dot where my pinky is represents, okay, represents that 0.0000001% physical substance. The remaining part around this little dot is unlimited potential. It's the 99.99999% negative space, nothing. It's unlimited. So what my objective here in this video is to create this awareness within you to sort of broaden your perspective, pull you back, if you will, watching this and having your beliefs, perceptions, assumptions, and definitions of who you are, who you assume yourself to be, who you perceive yourself to be, and how you define yourself in every given moment that you are alive in this physical body. Because there is this physical, there's this nothingness, there's this source, okay, that is beating my heart right now, that is pushing the blood through my veins as we speak. The cells in my body are by the millions and millions dying off and new ones being generated as I am speaking to you, as you're watching this video. There's a source, which is you are a part of this, that is out there, that is doing all this. We are not conscious of it. We don't think about it, right? It happens. It just takes place. We don't wake up in the morning saying, "Oh, good Lord, I'm thankful, and my heart's still beating and the blood's still going through my veins." Right? We don't go to bed at night going, "I let me just check, maybe make sure. Okay, good. The heart's still beating good, and I'm okay." No, we just take it for granted, right? So then let's change. Let's twist this thinking around to where we're not take for granted, but we just assume that whatever it is that we want to do, be, or have in this world is already done. Because whatever this is, this universal source energy that created this whole universe is creating us in this moment. Okay? So these are the programs then that we have been set up with from the people who came before us, our caregivers, our parents, whoever else, grandparents, whoever raised you, whoever raised us. Okay. And what they did was they established this set of programming. And that is where the emotions work off of this programming. And the programming sets into motion this emotion, this energy in motion. But it is the filter, okay, the record of the past of how and you see how I have this figure here, you in the future, this this desire you may have going into the new year, right? We're setting up, we're going to have new goals and aspirations and what have you, which are great for the new year. But just using the words, I'm going to have goals, aspirations, plural, in the new year puts you here and the goals and aspirations here. You're separate from it. It's separate from you. No. It's the way society has us programmed to believe that. It is you right now. The moment you have this desire, the moment you can imagine yourself, it's done. But the fact that we can't see it, then we say, well, if I can't see it in this 3D world of mine, then it must not. And we start to doubt it. This is why you'll hear people say, get the desire and then detach yourself from it. They don't mean detaching yourself from the desire and forgetting the desire. It's detaching that thinking, that I'm here, it's here type of thinking. Because when we have it like this, then we have to go and we have to work harder. We have to cheat a little bit. We have to lie a little bit. We have to compete a little bit in order to get from here to here. See what I'm saying? We don't. We just set it in motion. We start to believe and we assume and we perceive and we define ourselves as already being that person. Whatever it is that what you're looking for in your life, be it a relationship, owning whatever it may be. Okay. But remember, it's how you've been raised. It's what the programming that's inside of you. It's the way that going back to that caretaker, the parents, the way how they saw their life. And then how we observed that energy was transferred to us. So then it clouds our vision of who our future self or that person that we want to be or we want to have something. These are the emotions. It's the filter that we see ourselves through. Okay. We think neurologically within the circuitry of those emotions. So I'm not good in public speaking. I'm not good around other people. Nobody in my family ever went to college. So, nobody really made much more. No one in my family was ever a six-figure income earner. No one in our family was ever a millionaire. Okay. you see how we're starting to we build these walls between who we are and who we intend to be. There's a great I think it's a great story about a lot of you know John Bon Jovi, the group Bon Jovi. When he was about I think 15 or 16, now think about this. He was in high school and he was taking singing lessons. His father and the teacher both told him, now remember, this is a 15 or 16-year-old kid. John, we're not so sure because his voice wasn't all that great. We're not, because they both said, we don't think so. John said to them, yeah, well, I think so. The emotion that he had was one that he clearly saw himself as we know today, John Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi, we all know today as John Bon Jovi, the rock star. That's what I'm talking about. It's getting away from the programming and seeing yourself as that future self, as that person right now. He also would go to here in New Jersey, the Stone Pony, and would perform on stage. He would perform with Bruce Springsteen and Southside Johnny and other acts. Okay. Bruce Springsteen he wasn't Bruce Springsteen at the time, but locally was, Bruce Springsteen. There was a part in the book, the Bon Jovi, the story that said he would say to kids in high school, they would say, hey, what did you do last night? And some of them would say they watched whatever sporting event or whatever was on TV. He said, yeah, well, I was in the Stone Pony jamming with Bruce Springsteen. See, he was getting himself around that atmosphere, that environment. He saw himself, he was surrounding himself with those people. He was cultivating in his mind what a future, not a future, but what a rock star was, what they did, how they acted, okay, who they were with, what those kind of people were with. He were with them. Then he went and got a job at what's called the Power Station, a recording studio in New York City. He got around David Bowie, the Stones, Aerosmith, Queen. So all these different major rock stars at the time, he was around them. There was a scene where, or not a scene, there was a story when he had an early band called the Asbury Park Expressway, I believe, or something like that. And he was the guitar player, lead singer. Okay, so he was already performing as the rock star on stage. They pull up outside the power station after a gig, and his guitar player at the time said, the car pulls up, and behind the car, one limousine pulls up behind them, and then a second limousine pulls up behind that one. Out of the limousine comes Mick Jagger. They said inside of the limousine, there was all kinds of booze and what have you. Mick Jagger goes and puts his arm around the guy who's telling the story, the guitar player back at the time, and his other arm around John, and says, hey boys, here's my new group. I'm going to call them the Frogs. The guy telling the story, guitar player, says he had no idea, Mick Jagger, at the time that he had his arm around the future rock star, John Bon Jovi. I'm telling you these stories to illustrate this is how we change the mind. This is how we change the programming. We consume ourselves with, and these are success stories from the uber success people. I'm telling you one about John Bon Jovi, that you get around, you start to saturate your mind with this type of thinking. I am. That's it. I am. It's why in the Bible, Jesus said to his disciples, who do you say, well, he was asking, who do they say that I am? And the disciples came back with, we some say you're John the Baptist. Okay, but who do you say I am? He wasn't asking them, who do you say that I am? But who do you say that I am? You yourself. I am. Fill in the blank. See, because John Bon Jovi, Mick Jagger, another story of Stephen Pearcy from a group back in the 80s called Rat that was pretty popular in the mid to late 80s, said that when they were in California performing in backyards at like little barbecues, he said, Steve, when I wasn't standing in some kid's backyard, he said, I was on a stage in Madison Square Garden or the Felt Forum or the Coliseum. You see? So these guys, they were able to bend the matrix, bend that to their desire. You create the desire, or you create the imagery in your mind. Jesus said, the only temple will not be made by hands. The only temple where God will exist, source energy, whatever you want to call it, universal energy, will not be made of hands. He's referring to this here between our ears. This is the temple. There is no, we don't need churches or synagogues. I mean, that's fine if you go there, but I'm not saying you don't need that. You only need, he said this, you only need, if you ever saw the movie The Chosen, there is the famous scene at the pool of Bethesda where the cripple, if you saw it, you may remember what I'm talking about, was laying by the pool, right? For many, many years. And he couldn't get to the water because he thought, if I get into the pool, then I'll be healed. And Jesus comes upon him and says to him, I know how much you've been suffering. I know your life. He said, but you don't need this pool. You don't need anything like that. He goes, you only need me. But he wasn't referring to him as Jesus. He was talking about you only need yourself. You only need to see that belief. So the emotions, we transfer those emotions to the emotions of the feeling, but not a feeling of like an emotion, a feeling of conviction. I am that already, right here and right now. I am reality. I am God and there is no other. I am source energy. There is no other. Go back to what I said a few minutes ago. If you and I are, which we are, 99.99999%, nothing, and 0.0000001% nothing, empty space, then we are this source energy. We are part of this energy. We are mostly who we are is this energy that creates universes. That's how powerful you and I actually are. So we think neurologically, again, within the circuits of those past experiences, emotions. Okay? The stronger the betrayal, then, the stronger the trauma, the more the body or the emotions lives in that past. So the stronger the programming, the more we are clouded. We can't see that future self because the programming is so strong. And then that little squiggly red line is the law of attraction. Okay? So the stronger the betrayal, the stronger the trauma, the stronger those emotions, the more we draw people, events, and circumstances to ourselves because that emotion, that law of attraction, those focused thoughts keep drawing those people to them. The same is true for John Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi. He had his law of attraction. He drew to him being on stage with with Bruce Springsteen, Southside Johnny. He drew to him his being getting a job at the power station in New York City. He drew to him all those people, that law of attraction, that almost like a vacuum, it sucked all those people to him. He drew his attraction. So this is what we want to focus on in the moment, as many moments as you can throughout the day. Take yourself back and say, I am that dot. And if I am that dot, if I'm focusing on that little dot, then I'm focusing on what I want. Because what we do is we say, well, if I don't have that, this little dot, again, you probably can't even see it. If I don't have that, that's not what I'm not getting what I want. When the universe is saying, all of this is yours, all of it. No, 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 I'm not going to think about anything outside. I'm only going to focus on this little dot. Okay. So we change then. We add it together, that dot plus that 99.99999%. You put that together and that creates whatever it is. You command it by your thoughts. There is no competition. There is no hustle. There is no grind. There is none of that. You declare who you are right now in this moment. This is how you do it. Okay. This is how we get to the heart. So, in conclusion, I have 3 questions for you. Okay? One, do you, and I'll stand up here and say it. Can you see me here? Okay. Number 1, do you tend to think or focus more on what you have or what's missing? Okay. Do you tend to focus more on what you have, who you are, where you're going, what you're doing right now, or what's missing in your life? Question 2, do you tend to focus more on what you can or can't control? I will tell you right now, right here, there is nothing outside of you that you can control. No person, nothing at all. You can't, we don't control anything other than ourselves. Okay? You're thinking in this moment. I go back to what I started with this video. Perceptions, beliefs, assumptions, and definitions about who you are, where you're at, what you believe, what you define yourself to be. Okay? Third question, do you tend to focus more on the present moment, your past, or your future? Remember we said there is no past and there is no future. There is only the present. But prior to this video, do you worry more about what's going to happen, what you perceive? Because when we're in stress, that's when we try to control. When we're in stress, we try to control the future. We try to predict the future. Okay, we focus more on the past. We focus more on how we can control things. When we get to the part where we understand that everything is right now in this moment, then we respond to events that take place in our life. We don't react to things. The skill then is how do I take what I dream about and make it real despite all the challenges? That's a question from Tony Robbins. I would submit I remove the word challenges because there are no challenges. There are challenges if you say there's challenges. If we say there's challenges, then there's challenges. But it's how we define ourselves in this moment. Okay? We make it real right now. We make it real in this moment. It is. Right now, it is this moment. Because life is nothing more than this moment. So this is how we change how we talk to ourselves, how we think about ourselves, and we're able to manifest everything right here, right now. Because remember, I'll end it here with John Bon Jovi's story. John Bon Jovi, he saw himself performing at Giant Stadium back when it was Giant Stadium, long before he actually stepped 1 foot on the stage. He saw himself there. He was there in his mind many, many, many times prior to physically being there. What is it that you're doing right now that you're going to continue to do and continue and continue and continue and continue to do? Like Neville Goddard says in his affirmation, I did it, I'm doing it, and I will continue doing it until that which I have done is perfectly externalized in my world. That's all you need. I am. You fill in the blank. Please do me a favor and hit the like button and the share to get this message out, because the more people we get this message out to, the bigger this channel grows, and the more people we can help. We can help to change what I was talking about. People being focused and programmed from the past, being stuck there. If you would like some assistance with this, with whatever it may be in your life, maybe more clarification on a personal level, you can go to my channel, you can click on the link there, and I'd be happy to work with you and talk with you. You can send me an email as well, and work with you on whatever it is that you feel you may have some challenges with. Until I see you again, God bless. Have a wonderful day. If I don't talk to you again, but you don't come on to another video until afterwards, enjoy a wonderful, prosperous new year, wonderful time with your family, loved ones, and friends. God bless.